All right, moving on to Israel-Palestine. So with the internet cut in Gaza and the world's attention focused on the Israel-Iran war, the massacres in Gaza have only heightened since then. We put up this first element here, this Reuters article. This headline is absolutely extraordinary. Israeli tanks kill 59 people in Gaza crowd trying to get food aid, medics say. This is similar to the reports of the very first aid massacre, which defenders of Israel insisted for many days afterwards that it had not happened. In all of those days since then, another massacre of people seeking aid has carried out. There's some, you can go to the Drop Site News Twitter feed if you want to see it. We're not going to play it here because it's absolutely horrific. There's some footage of the carnage after the tanks fired on this area of Khan Yunis. This was another scene where people knew that there was going to be an aid truck going through and attempted to get aid from that truck, and then they opened fire on them, killing well over 59, actually, at this point. They went to Nasser Hospital as well as others. Nasser just is on the brink of total collapse at this point. We have some less graphic footage that we can show. This is C1. You can kind of hear the shooting in the distance. You can see the scenes of utter chaos, and you can see the lights in the distance there, which represent the GHF kind of quote unquote aid distribution center. And just to remind people, before Israel took over aid distribution and had left it to the World Food Program and World Central Kitchen and others, you simply did not see scenes like this, because these are aid organizations that have been doing this for a very long time, and so they know how to do this. Speaking of Nasser Hospital, we can put up C2. This is, and we can just roll this. This is this is an audio report that DropSite got about the state of affairs at perhaps the largest hospital that is remaining somewhat functional in Gaza.
Dr. Youssef reports that there is not just a huge number of patients coming in from the various massacres like the one today. Nasser Hospital is still in a red area. And importantly, Nasser Hospital has no supplies, no consumables. All items are lacking for the provision of emergency medical care. He also told me that until now, since the 7th of October, in Gaza, the Ministry of Health have recorded the use of 150,000 units of blood that have been used, which means approximately 250 units of blood daily. Now, blood is lacking because of the starvation of the population. They cannot no longer ask people to donate blood because of nutritional anemia, and the fact that many have already donated units. They are unable to receive more cases now because they cannot provide life-saving first aid or damage control or life-saving surgery. There is practically no food available. They're trying to cook some bread in Nasser Hospital, but they are also, in addition to being out of food material, there is no cooking gas, and they are actually using staff to collect firewood in order to make some food available for the staff and the patients. This is the reality in Nasser Hospital.
And so for many months, DropSite and other reporters have been in contact with the hospital staff at Nasser and other places, getting regular updates. It's never been, I think, as dire as it is now overall. Last night, and let's put up C4, there was another attack in Khan Yunis. That is an assemblage of tents that you're watching burning there. So the footage that's shot around the world over the last months and a year ago, we're constantly seeing people burning alive. God only knows what the up-close footage looks like there. This comes as effectively nobody's paying attention for the last week or so because of the other war between Israel and Iran. And when you see the numbers of casualties coming out of that and compare it to what's continuing to happen every single day in Gaza, it's kind of extraordinary.
Ryan, what have you heard from sources? No Drop Site is regularly in contact with people in Gaza and in West Bank, and what is their spirit like? What have you heard?
Well, West Bank, interestingly, I'm glad you mentioned that. The UN put out a report yesterday that the West Bank is now basically on total lockdown for Palestinians. Israeli settlers who live in the West Bank can move freely from their settlements to jobs just like a few miles away in 48 Israel. But the West Bank just if you're in an area, you can't leave it, basically. If you're in a town, you can't leave the town. The checkpoints have become almost impassable, which means you can't visit family, you can't get to your job, you can't visit friends, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's like just a complete, imagine COVID lockdown times thousands, and with guns everywhere. The despair is pretty extreme in Gaza. The hunger, hunger is one of those things that we can all identify with.
Right.
Because we get hungry. Everybody gets hungry. We have the ability when we get hungry to go feed ourselves. Sometimes we complain about the food we'll get, but if we're thirsty, we can drink. If we're hungry, we can eat. Sometimes we have to wait an hour, and it's like, how awful was that?
Right.
Like today, I forgot to bring a granola bar, so I'm going to suffer for like 30 minutes.
You do love those granola bars.
I do love granola bars. It's that feeling just multiplied to infinity with no sense of when you're going to be able to feed yourself. And you know that at almost every single aid distribution scene, people will be killed. People will be shot at. And people will be fighting over flour and the other provisions. That's the other thing you're seeing now. It's like people fighting each other. Yet, and so you know that if you go, you may get killed and wounded. And if you get wounded, you're probably going to die because of the lack of any medical care. Yet you go because of the hunger, and not just your hunger. Like we can handle that. It's your family's hunger. There was a man who was killed about last week. His last words were, "Please, somebody take care of my children. I left them hungry." And for I think any parent around the world can identify with that feeling, because that's what you care about, even in his dying moment. Like the thing that he was thinking about is his children and how they're hungry. So I think it's impossible to describe the depth of despair at this moment, and I don't see how it ends.
Right. No, I mean, as everything is escalating in Iran, everyone's attention is increasingly elsewhere already, and that looks poised to get even more significant. That redirection of attention looks poised to get even more significant in the days ahead, which is has to be incredibly a very bleak future. Feels like, I'm sure.
And the worse it gets, the more severe the international consequences will be for world opinion of Israel when Western press gets in there and says, "Oh, the stuff that Drop Site was reporting in these TikToks and Instagram videos that we were seeing, that was only scratching the surface of what Western reporters are going to be able to find when they get in there." And because of this chauvinism around believing Western reporters over, Palestinian reporters who are on the ground, that will have a greater effect, once people can get in there. So people have to get in there at some point. But if you keep a simmering conflict going, you can fend off that day. And Netanyahu is a very one day at a time type of person, just kicking whatever political pain there is just to the next week. And so that's why I say I don't know when. Like, I don't know what's going to force that to come to an end.
Right. Awful. Thank you for your reporting on that.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.